What's up, Vicky? Hey, Vicky, do I have audio? Awesome, thank you. I'm gonna Renee. Hey, I'm gonna Shauna. I'm gonna post. I posted a link if you guys want to come and join my live. I'm gonna go ahead and get things rocking and rolling. I'm waiting for a special guest to come on, and I'm gonna take a minute to kind of give y'all the background of why we're here. Now, earlier today, actually, it was this morning when we first got started with our day. Let's see. Okay. Um, hold on 1 second. Let me put this down right here. All right. Yeah. So earlier today, a good friend of mine, a high school classmate, made a post, and I'm going to actually pull this post up because I want to make sure that okay, I got you, Vicky. Vicky taking care of me. I got two cameras going on, but I cut one of them off, so and then it's a habit. But I appreciate it. Let's see. I'm gonna pull this post up because everything that we did was based off of this post, and I'm gonna be looking away from you guys because I'm waiting for my special guest to come on. But since we're here, we're gonna go ahead and get into this thing because I want to hear everybody's input. And before we get into this thing, let me just take care of some housekeeping. First of all, if you don't know, my name is Eric Kirk, and I am the author of The Power of Two. I'm also the co-host of the Power Podcast, the Father and Son edition. I got the honor, the privilege to work alongside my son in this capacity. So I'm definitely excited about that. We got a website. If you want to go and purchase the book, you can do that at the Power of Two X, like X-ray, number 2.com. That's the Power of Two X.com. And let's pull this thing up here because, man, I'm ready to jump into this thing. And I know she messaged me a minute ago and said that she's getting logged in on her computer. But this is what started it all. A man should be an option, not a definition. Now, I'm not sure about this quote. She in parentheses she has Judge Lynn Toller. Now, I don't know if this quote comes from her or not, but she goes on to say for an unmarried woman. Okay, so let's look at this thing again. A man should be an option, not a definition. Okay, so we can stop there, but she goes further on and she goes on and defines exactly what she's talking about because she says specifically for an unmarried woman. Okay, then the post goes on and says you should not feel that you need a man to be whole. Now you are whole all by yourself, and I love that. I love that you're whole all by yourself. Once the right man comes into your life, he should be an addition to what you already are, not define you. I like that. I get where she's coming from. Then she ends it up and saying the two of you should come together. And this was pretty cool. She said the two of you should come together and blend like cake mix. Making something good. you know, and I'm like, man, who don't love cake? Okay, hey, she really had me on that, but I'm not gonna say I totally disagree with her. I really could, I really could, I can't say that I agree totally with her, and you know, s- until she get on, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna spend time and share with you guys on my feeling. Then when she comes on, we'll get a chance to, to hear her side of it as well. Let me plug in. And I do know that sometimes getting on this broadcast can be a little challenging. So, y'all please forgive her, for that. Okay. But how everybody doing? I want to make sure that we are y'all feeling the vibe? Let's see. Make sure my comments are up too because I want to make sure that we're good. I got Vicky, hello, Andrea, hello, Shauna, hello, everybody. This is the Fight for the Family broadcast. Now, I know a lot of you guys, if you've been following the Power Podcast, doing an amazing job. Our last broadcast did get shut down because we made some mistakes on that thing. We violated some community standards, and awesome, Vicky. Vicky, you need to come on and because man, I would love to hear from you. I know you got some insight on this topic. Shauna, I would love to hear from you. And Renee, I'm not gonna push it. I'm not gonna push it with you, but I would love to have you on here as well. But here's the deal, guys. See, one of the things that I was trying to get her to see is that, and understand that this was somewhat of a debate. Okay, it was somewhat, but it wasn't heated, it wasn't disrespectful, but it did make me want to, say, hey, let's continue this conversation. Let's come to my broadcast and let's have a conversation about it. And one of the reasons why I did that is because I felt like any type of communication, any type of dialogue, is going to be productive dialogue if you do it in the right way. So although at the same time, we really was on two opposite ends of the spectrum when it came to this subject. There was, I mean, as far as I was concerned, it was a place where, you know although we are different and we have different ways of looking at it, I can respect and appreciate you having an opinion. So that being said, this is where I was at. First, I wanted her to understand that as a man, we're going to really look at things different anyway. Okay, if you follow my other Fight for the Family broadcast, that's one of the things that I do. And by the way, let me just go ahead and plug that in because you can find these series or episodes. You can find them on YouTube at Fight for the Family, and then you can also find them on Instagram. Okay, and you can find them up on my Instagram is Eric Kirk, the relationship guy. Okay, and go up under my IGTV, and then you're gonna see a series of Fight for the Family, program. So that'll definitely be a blessing. But one of the episodes that I aired in that series was about how men or women are just different and how we see things different and how it's not a bad thing, but in as we pursue this relationship, we have to understand that we are different. We have to understand that um, although you may be fully persuaded on your idea of what of your thought and you that's yours. And a lot of times, what we start failing in relationships is that we almost make our idea an idol, and we get to the point where If a person is not thinking like I'm thinking, then that person is just wrong. See, what I want us to understand is that your thinking for you is perfectly fine. It's the way God designed you. But at the same time, the thinking for me is perfectly fine. It's the way God designed me. See, I believe in all my heart that God designed us specifically for a reason. I went in this Fight for a Family series. We talk about the family unit. We talking about how it can be strong, but we talk about the differences, not to point out some negativity. We talk about those differences so we can understand. I'm gonna send you a link. Actually, it's up there, but I'm gonna send it to you again. Let's see. I think yeah, that's it. Hey, let's see if you can see that. Um, and then Vic, if you might be able to see it through Messenger. There you go. Yeah, yeah. Look at the campsite. Look at the campsite because I did post it in the camping group, and you'll probably be able to click on that link a whole lot better. Okay. So when you look at the differences, let me kind of give you guys an idea of what we're looking at. Okay, you got we're gonna use a mother and a father. You got a mother and a father, then you have a child. Okay, just so imagine if you will, that child is playing around, being rambunctious, maybe running and jumping and doing all what a child would do. And the now just imagine maybe the mother, the father, or both, says to that child, "Hey, stop running. You're gonna get hurt." Okay, so the child continues to run, and then he stumps his toe, and now he's crying. Okay, and now what I want you to understand is the dichotomy between how the mother would handle it and how the father would handle it. Okay, the uh, okay, Big. I'm gonna tell this story. Just you in. Just hold a second, and I'm gonna bring you in. So so what happens in this situation? The child cries and then runs to the mother, and the mother is going to do what a mother do. She's going to do exactly what God designed her to do. She's going to take care of that immediate need of that child, and she's going to say, "Where does it hurt? Are you okay? Can I kiss the boo boo?" She's going to do all of that good stuff. That same scenario, and the child runs to his father, he's going to do something a little different. He's going to say, um, "Hey, didn't I tell you to stop running? This is what happens when you disobey." He's going to take that opportunity to do what God designed him to do, and that was to prepare him for the future because is vitally important. And see, in these relationships, a lot of times you're going to look at you can look at it and say, well, hey, one is wrong. The mother may be being too soft and the dad may be too hard. But guys, what I want to tell you is that there's a reason why we are this way. God made us this way for a reason. That you can call it yin and yang or whatever, but there's a balance because He knew that the family unit, in order for it to be successful, like He designed it, He needed that mother to take care of that child's immediate needs. He needed that father to take that teachable moment and prepare him for the future. And so the next question people always, bring up is, but can one parent do it all by themselves? Of course they can. But I'm talking about what how God designed it. So that when I looked at her post, and Vic, I'm gonna bring you in. Man, I'm ready to rock and roll with my sister, y'all. Yeah.
Look, I got a few minutes.
All right.
Look, I got a few minutes for you.
Man,
I'm
Vic,
excited.
I
Hi,
am. This is your
everybody.
first time.
I
This is,
know.
this is your first time. Hey, listen. I still want you guys on my Sunday show, the Power Podcast. So I know we're gonna be in Birmingham, so we may have to reschedule it. And we got Miss Hood in the house too. Man, I am. Listen, we're gonna make this a family affair. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. We're going to jump into this thing, Vic. I want your input, and listen, we are here. First, let's just do this, okay, Vic? I want you to start with you, and I want y'all to introduce yourselves, and then we're gonna jump into this thing, and I'm gonna let Carol just beat me up a little bit.
Well,
I've, I've been nervous. She had me nervous all day, and
no, not like that.
Oh my gosh, I
oh
love
man.
it. Hey everybody, I am Vicky Kirk May. I am a passion to profit coach. I am better known as the Educators Passion Accelerator. I support educators who are over ready to elevate their mindset, escape the paycheck to paycheck existence, and to eliminate burnout from their life. So I help them to create the income that they desire so they can live a life that they deserve. And Eric is my brother, and it is awesome to share your platform with you on this evening.
Well, definitely glad to have you here. It's been a long time coming, and it's definitely my honor. Okay, Miss Hood, give it to me. First, tell me who you are.
Okay, my name is Carol Davis Hood. I am Eric's classmate. Semi-retired hairdresser of 30 plus years,
Mm,
and I'm currently an office administrator.
awesome, awesome, man. That's a powerful thing. 30 plus years in the hair business.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow, man. Well, listen. As promised, I want to jump into this thing. I'm gonna, I told them what started this all. So, your post, man. I think it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. That normally that's me and God time. But
Hmm.
you disrupted my program because I made the mistake of opening up my phone and seeing what was going on. And then I came across this post this morning. It said a man should be an option, not a definition. Now, here's my question to you before we go. Now, Judge
Eric, you said
Lynn,
man should be what?
an option.
Okay.
But you didn't finish the sentence, Eric. You didn't finish
Okay.
the
I didn't
sentence.
finish it because I know that's where you were stuck on. But what I want to know, who is Judge Lynn Tyler? Who is that?
He's a judge.
So how does she relate to this? Is this her quote?
That was her quote.
That
Yes.
was her quote. Okay, gotcha. Okay, now here's the rest of it. It said for an unmarried woman. Okay, you should not feel like you need a man to be whole. Okay, you are whole all by yourself. Once the right man comes into your life, you should be. It should be. He should be an addition to you, to who you already are. Okay, not define who you are. The two of you should come together and blend like cake mix. I love that. Take to make something whole and good. Um, and that's just your take on it. Okay. So I'm going to give you the first shot at it. Okay, because you agreed with her because you posted it. Okay, and so tell me about this quote.
Well, from my standpoint, out like I said, I'm a hairdresser of 30 plus years, so I've talked to many, many women over the years, all races, white, black, Muslim, African, all types, and I am myself am a woman. So that was in relation to a single woman, um, not having to be validated by having a man standing by her side, knowing that she is a whole woman standing alone. And if she's a God fearing woman, she is definitely whole standing alone. But we have many women who do not realize that about themselves.
Okay.
I know several young ladies who they don't feel whole alone. They can be dating a guy 1 month. If they break up with that guy within a month or two, it's not a week later they're with somebody else. So they don't know how to stand alone and be whole and know that they are validated by God as being a woman, and you can be a woman alone and wait for God to send you who you need.
Absolutely.
You don't have to be chasing after men or have a man in your life every single moment. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of my take on it being an option rather than a definition, because some women define themselves as a woman only when they have a man with them.
Okay. Okay. Now, I know you kept saying, Eric, you're missing the point. You're missing the point, and I get it. I get it. You know, Vicky. I get my spill on it. You tell me, should a man be an option? You know, or should he be an option for that single woman?
Yeah, for a single woman.
Yeah, gotta make sure we say that, because I know when you're married, your husband should be the priority after God. So I do know that part. Mm-hmm. But I'm speaking on a single woman standpoint, where the woman thinks that she is not whole unless there's a man with her.
Okay.
Now I do tend to lean toward Carol. In the, well, I'm thinking about, when I think of the word option, I think of the word choice, or they don't. Okay, just let me say it like this. God has given us free will. And he's given us free will so that we can choose freely how we want to live our life. He's not gonna, God is not gonna make us do anything. And so I don't believe that a woman should just say, hey, I just gotta have a man. My life is not good without a man, and they're depressed because they don't have a man. They don't think they are a woman because they don't have a man. Like, everything is just centered around a man. I don't think that is healthy. But I also, on the other hand, if someone desires to be married or desires to be in a relationship, I don't think anything is wrong with that. But there are a lot of women, especially when they get to a certain age, they just feel like if they don't get married or if they're not in a serious relationship, then something is wrong with them. And I just don't, and so Carol, I definitely understand the whole option and not a definition, because no man should define who you are. And a lot of women, I think, they buy into, my life is not complete if I don't have a man, or that there's something missing. Now, if you just desire, you want to be married, like I have friends that I know want to be married. There's nothing wrong with that, but don't make it an unhealthy space. And I think sometimes women make it an unhealthy space, or like something is wrong with them because they don't have a man.
So I totally get it. So I heard from you guys, and like I said before.
But can I say?
Yeah, go ahead.
But I will say this: I also don't want women to fool themselves into thinking, or fool themselves into believing that they don't want a relationship or they don't want a man because it's not happening right now. And so sometimes they'll say, I'm good all by myself, or a man can't do nothing for me, or whatever, because they have resolved to believe that it's not going to happen for them. And so they start pretending like they're okay with it. And so on either spectrum, if you're not living in your real truth, if you're not living in your real truth, it can be detrimental. So it's okay to want to be in a relationship, but don't let it define, your well-being, because you can be well and live a grand life without having a man or a woman for that matter.
So here's my question. And Lededrick, man, thank you. I appreciate you, brother. You're definitely welcome to join us. I would love to hear your insight and to balance out this panel because I'm not doing too good right now.
I say, I say one more little thing
Yes,
about.
man.
So I feel that a single woman, when she's in, if she desires to be married and when she's in waiting, she should be focusing on improving herself,
There we go.
mentally, physically, health wise, education wise. You should be focusing on making yourself a better you. And while you're working on making you a better you will project a better you, which will in turn, if you are desiring a husband, will attract that man.
Absolutely. So, question: Who gets this message? What age bracket where you say this message is appropriate? What age female?
All,
All age.
all
Okay. Okay. So
of younger women need to know it, and we have some women in our age group that still don't know that as well.
okay. So Vicky, you agree with her?
Oh yeah, I think that when you're younger, I think younger women feel like they just one of my coworkers said her grandmama would always say, just want a man.
Mhm.
When you younger, and then when you're older, I think sometimes women want that relationship so bad that they become desperate.
And they
And
settle.
whenever you at a place of desperation, you start attracting that negative energy, and you're wondering why. If you attracting the men that don't want to be in relationships, are they already in a committed relationship? That's because of the desperate energy, and desperation. Unless you're desperate for God, that's a negative energy, and you're putting out that, and so that's what you're going, to attract. And so I think this is good for all women,
Mhm.
no matter what the age. But I think for older women, I think we sometimes believe that if it doesn't happen now, it's not gonna happen, or we think that it's too late to happen, and we'll never find love. And because of that, I think that sometimes, whether we realize it or not, we give up on the inside, and something in us dies. And I just think that's so sad, because if you want to be married, I don't think anything is wrong with wanting to be married. But if you want to be single, then I don't think any, like, I know someone, and she's dating and she's happily in their relationship, and she'll say 100 times over, I don't want to be married. And I
So
and I think that's perfectly okay if she doesn't want to be married.
is it okay? But is it so? There's an element where I believe that there's women that really wants to be married, and because it's not happening, they're okay with saying, hey, I don't want to be married. And what's happening is, and so let me just kind of go back. And Tiffany, you know what, guys, let me do this because I want Tiffany to come in. And Tiffany, I want you to okay, yeah, we're good. Okay, Tiffany, give me a second. I know you muted out, but I'm gonna make my statement. Then you can come in, and I want you to introduce yourself. Okay. So here's the deal, guys. This is what I believe. First, and the reason why I brought up that whole how a man think and how a woman think, the way we think different. I brought that up in the beginning because I wanted you to understand that I totally believe how you're looking, but that a man always prepares. We're always thinking about the future. That's just how our DNA is. So when I look at that statement, I'm looking at, well, what is the effects of saying that, hey, a man is an option, okay? And see, really, I'm stuck there, okay? Because see, I'm going on God's original intent. And if I'm thinking like if it was an option, then I think we would have seen that in the creation.
It's his perfect will that goes again that goes with his perfect will and his permissive will. His perfect
Absolutely,
will was confirmed when he said it's not good for man to be alone.
absolutely.
And
That's where I was heading.
he created Adam, and he created Eve, both whole human beings. Adam wasn't part human, and neither they were whole. Nothing was missing from either one of them.
Absolutely,
So they were, when they came together, they were whole.
absolutely,
That's how God intended. But because sin entered into the world, I think that's where the option came in. And so God is just not gonna force us to live right or to do right. But we know that that's his perfect will. He wants man and woman to be together.
and see, Vicky, I can stop right there, okay? Because I do understand the difference between his perfect will and his permissive will. Even when we use that argument, we can go and we literally can see God say, "This is not what I want from you," but
Right.
because I love you, I'm going to allow it to happen. Okay, but the divine God said there is a perfect way for you. You know what I'm saying? There is a way that seems right into a man. So when I look at that, I'm stuck because I'm saying, and that's why I asked the question about, what age group are we dealing with? Because see, if you start teaching that, to the younger babies, and now you're saying to that 8-year old, 9-year old, 10-year old daughter, and saying, what, you know, hey daughter, a man is an option. A man is an option. Okay. So she grows up, and now she goes through her teenage years, and she goes through her now she's 20, she's 25 years, and now she's looking at getting married. Man, she finds this guy, and but she has been inside of her has been rooted. A man is an option, and
But
so.
Eric,
Mhm.
not an option as a whole. See, that's what you're not relaying. You're just stopping on that.
And it's a reason why. Because and trust me, it's a reason why I asked about the age group. Because if I am an older adult, I may can decipher through that. But if I'm a young child and I've been taught this, then that is going to mentally adjust me to where I'm thinking, I'm going to go into this relationship, into this marriage, with the teaching of my mother or my grandmother or my auntie, whoever taught me at this early impressionable age that men are an option. Because I think what you want to do is say, but it's to the unmarried. So a 8-year-old girl is not really thinking about being married, but she's been taught this way of thinking that's going to take her into her adulthood. Yes.
Okay, if they're being raised in a Christian environment, in a religious environment, they're
Mhm.
going to be taught the core values of that Christianity. So that's going to be in place.
Mhm.
And that's going to let her know how she's supposed to receive a man in her life when she wants to be married.
So
But we're
what we're
teaching.
hoping is what
I'm
we're
sorry.
hoping is that we're going to teach her that a man is an option, and all her and her impressionable years growing up, and then at some point we're going to tell her that the man should be her number one priority. That's what we're betting on.
I
And
just
maybe
I
not
just feel
use
like
the word option. Maybe use the word depending on, like I tell my sixth graders, um, you know, a boyfriend should be the last thing on your mind right now.
Mhm.
They should not be priority. So maybe, priority, or maybe
okay.
necessity, I don't know, I think depending on the age, I think we should change up the word option. But surely for an older person, I mean, like, even I'll use some of my young adult that I mentee. Um, they are at a place now where they need to love themselves.
Mhm.
I would use the word option for them right now, because I want you to choose you right now. I want you healed and whole and delivered. So to the point where at your time of love, I can't think of the verse right now, but the verse says in the Word of God, it says that when it's your time of love, God will uncover you.
Mhm.
And so I don't think a man should be an option for anybody until it's their time of love, and God will uncover them. And God will uncover you when you're ready to be found.
Make it plain,
Absolutely.
Vicky. Make it plain, girl.
Absolutely.
And so that's where, and so I tell them, maybe, because we have to keep in mind, God loves women. He loves his daughters, but he also loves his sons, and he don't want his son to find an unprepared, unready wife.
Absolutely.
And so that's options just means choice. I choose me in this moment.
But
And
it goes up.
a man is not even in the equation right now, because I'm not ready. Like, for me, men are optional. That's why I can kind of resonate, because
Mhm.
my heart is not ready. My mind is not ready. My finances are not ready. It's just so much, I'm a widow, for those, who may not know. So it really depends on the person. So for me, I can relate to that. Men are an option right now. I choose me. I choose my mental health. I choose my emotional health. I choose my spiritual health right now. And once I feel like I can bring value to a relationship, then yes, men are an option.
And then what happens after that?
When I feel as though I'm whole and I'm ready to be in a relationship, then I'm opting for a man.
Mhm.
Like,
You
come on. And I think that it's just gonna come, because that's just how God does things. Because there again, in the Word of God, it says when the time is right, I'm gonna uncover you. See, some
Mhm.
of us want to uncover ourselves. See, when I married Fred Castleberry, I uncovered myself, because I was impatient, and because I'm like, oh, if I don't get married now. But see, when I allowed God to uncover me, then Stan May was able to find me.
Are you
Absolutely.
finna make me shout over here?
So
So let me ask you this, guys. So
bring Tiffany on.
Tiffany is on. She's muted out. She did
Oh,
send me a
okay.
message and said that there she go.
There she is.
And Tiffany, I think you there
Hey
you
y'all.
go. All right.
These boys.
So,
Go ahead,
Vicky,
Carol.
how when it's your time, the Lord will reveal you and open you up. I can speak. My mother divorced my father when I was in 7th grade,
Mm-hmm.
and she never, she didn't remarry until she was 63 years old.
Wow.
You know what I'm
that
saying?
just brings me so much joy. But go on.
Like
It's
Vicky,
powerful.
when it was her time, she was patient. She wasn't rushing anything. She dated I think I may have seen 3 guys she dated from my 7th grade year till I turned 40 some years old.
Wow, I love
After
it.
that, she just let it go. She worked on herself. She's always been in the church, usher. She just did what she had to do for herself and in the church and just lived her life. And when it was time, the Lord sent that man to her. And this was a man who had grown up in the same neighborhood with her as a child.
Mm-hmm.
And they had been apart for years. He had moved to another state. He became a widow like 3 years before he reached out to her.
That's an awesome story. But and let me say this, because I want you guys to understand. Um, if you're talking about, like someone like your mother, or any adult, that we can say has been, that has been vetted as an adult. I am 100% on a man should be an option. Okay, my concern with a message for a younger child, younger, that daughter, that niece, to input that same type of teaching in her at that age, is damaging to the family. Tiffany,
Hey.
hey, hey, before you get, I know, man, you always got a lot of wisdom, but we are on a different platform, so I do want you to introduce yourself, and just come as you do.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm Tiffany Newton. I'm a life coach, and I'm primarily focused on young adults who deal with anxiety and depression. Um, and I'm also passionate about family. I'm a divorced mother of 3. And so anytime we're talking about relationships or parenting, I'm always there because I know there's a purpose for both. And it's important for us to always be on the same page, especially when it comes to our kids. So,
And
but
did you mention your co-parenting aspect of your relationship?
yes, I meant, yeah.
Okay.
Did I? I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah. I brought that up because we have talked. Now she's also one of my coaches, and she have totally opened. Not that I have to worry about co-parenting, but I think that the reason why I was drawn to it is because even though the marriage didn't work, I still see how they work together to still make the family strong. And I think what we need more than any other time in history, we need our family unit strong. And Kara, really, I want you to understand that I'm really in the era of how we groom up children, because they're gonna be the one. Hey, we're on our way out of here. You know what I'm saying? So what are we gonna leave? What are we leaving behind? And what I do know is that these messages resonate, and I know you think that, okay, there's a time where it can shift, and you can say, okay, now a man is an option. But if you grew up and every female around you was telling you that a man is an option, then I promise you they're gonna grow up with that same mentality. Tiffany, what's your take on it? Now, and keep in mind that we're talking about a single, a single woman, not so it ain't for everybody, but it's that, hey, is it, man should be an option. and not a definition. Don't it should A man should not define a woman, even though a man will define a woman because he's gonna define her with his last name. So that's a whole nother issue that we can talk about. He will define you. He will give you your crown. Okay. Um, but that in itself, what's your take on that?
On the man being an option.
Yes.
Well, I definitely, I was hearing, I was kind of in and out when Vicky was talking, but I know she was mentioning, I kind of grasped the seasons of what women have. And I know initially when we're younger, of course, this is something that we really want to be. We want to be wives. We grow up playing these games. I'm going to have, I'm going to be married by this age. I'm going to have this kind of house, this many kids. So I think for the most part, it's in us as women to be wives, to be mothers. But things do change, and we may enter into another season like I have, where I'm divorced, and at that time, a man is an option, and because my main focus is on getting myself together and making sure my children are good, and because they're still fairly young. So we definitely have seasons in our lives to where we do have to allow God to be our husband, to be our covering, that we don't have at the time, until God brings that covering to us, that earthly covering.
See, you guys are really, really proving my point.
Okay, Eric. Okay, let me say.
It's stuck on it, baby. You ain't letting it go.
Let me say this, because I think what you're trying to say is that if we are teaching our daughters that men are an option, that the family will become extinct. The family as we know it will become extinct.
Yeah, well, at the very least, it's going to be weakened.
Or it will be weakened. I don't believe that because in this season of my life, men may be an option. I'm not necessarily saying that it should be an option for someone growing up, in the sense that I would teach them that it's okay if you don't be married. I just want women, and maybe this is the woman empowerment in me, or the feminist in me. I just believe that we can choose if we want to be married or not. And it should not define who we are as a woman if somebody chooses that they don't want to be married, or that they don't want a man.
See, here's the thing, and I totally get it.
I mean a man, like, okay, I don't want a man, I'd rather have a woman, but I don't have to have a friend of mine. She's really having a hard time right now because she has been with a man since she was 17 years old, and now she's not with one. But what if from 17, to before she got married, she had time in her life where it was just her. And so now she wouldn't be going crazy, or having these highs and lows and all of this, because she's never been without one.
Right. And see, I would say that, part of me would say that's natural. I mean, because you went through some type of hurt, you went through some type of trauma, and it got you all like that. But if we go back and talk to that 17-year-old, then I would say that prior to the breakup, she was living her best life. But something happened. And I think what's happening is, and what I'm seeing is that something happens and it shifts the way you're thinking. So what I want you guys to think about it, think about that 20-year-old or maybe a 25-year-old that's saying, hey man, I really wants to get married. Okay. And never been married before. Okay, but but feels like I'll do even better. Vicky, you can attest to this, I believe. You remember when we got out of jam session? If you guys don't know what jam session, that's a big hair event that our family put on, and we were sitting in the hotel lounge, and we was talking to the kids about what they want out of life. We was ready to invest whatever it was. We was like, okay, hey, we got the money for whatever you want to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you remember when what Alexis said? What did she say?
Well, let me make a little correction.
Okay,
It wasn't jam session. We were camping, and we were sitting out on the porch.
man, I'm dead
And
on.
we were
Okay,
sitting
go
out.
ahead.
We were sitting out on the porch,
Okay,
and the children were telling us their goals and dreams and what they wanted to aspire to be.
okay,
And Alexis said that she wanted to be a wife and a mother,
okay.
and she felt some kind of way about saying that.
Yeah,
And yeah,
I got it there because actually those are two. The business side of it did happen at jam session,
yes,
but her saying I want to be a wife and mother happened.
that was
That's how
yes,
yeah.
yes,
And she
yeah,
now guys, she put her head down in almost shame, and
yeah,
she and cried, and my response to her was, you chose the better. You chose the best thing that a woman could choose, because you're operating in what God designed you to be.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
I said, and I wanted her to understand that your anointing was there. You
yeah,
could go on and you can make $1 million and multi-million dollars, but her heart was, hey, I want to be a wife and I want to be a mother. And I said there was nothing more powerful than that right there, and I stand by that. So, and I say that because I want you guys to understand that that she didn't just get that out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? I can go into how many, in her 25 years of dating, I she can only show me, I can only see two people in her life, because she was taught that from an early age that even her dating was intentional. Okay, we just didn't do things just because we wanted to do them. And so when I hear that message, you say, okay, if I'm thinking about I got 3 daughters, I'm thinking about, well, what if I told them when they was 11, 12 years old that that you really didn't, that you don't need a man, that you don't, that they're an option to you. Then now I got to deal with, well, the repercussions of that, and Carol, you keep shaking your, come on, girl, tell me, what am I missing?
We never said that they don't need a man. I have a daughter. She's 27. I've been raising a daughter, and I think she is an awesome young lady, and she makes very wise choices. And she has always known that she doesn't have to have, like, through high school, she got a girlfriend and stuff with babies and stuff already being fast because they thought they had to have a boyfriend. I taught her, you don't have to do that.
Right.
You can have friends. You know what I'm saying? I think you are stuck on the word option. And like Vicky said, maybe we need to use a different word.
Hey, that was your word.
I know. But I'm saying, because you seem to be stuck on that particular word, it may need to be something else. But the point of it is letting young girls know that boys do not make them who they are. That's the bottom line.
Okay, now let's deal with that.
All alone.
So if that statement that I read this morning only said that, I don't think we would be here. Okay, because
you keep saying the option part, but you don't add the definition part. So basically,
tell me another word. What's a better word?
I just looked up option. It says something chosen or available. So it's not like you're totally eliminating the man out of the equation, because you're not. What we don't want, because we are women, what we don't want is for another woman to feel like if she does not have a man, something is wrong with her, or she's less than.
And
That
I'm totally
that
agreeing
is what
with,
we don't, because
totally agreeing with that.
men has the world society, which is male driven, has taught or tried to teach or brainwash women into thinking that you're nothing without me. And that is
not a black community argument. That's not a black community argument. That's somebody else, because we have always held up black women in our family. Black women has always been the leaders in our family. You know,
okay, and see there again, that adds to why, you know, it can be easy to say men are an option, because the black woman should not have ever been the leader. Right. And so that's a whole nother issue all in itself, because I don't want to lead.
Right.
I don't want to.
But it is where we are at.
To do that.
Right. Now, I mean, listen.
There are black men that don't honor and respect us as women.
Now, okay, let's clarify that, okay? Because even the worst black man is going to honor his mother, okay? Now, you know, nothing is going to, nothing, let's just say this, nothing I say is going to ever be 100%. Okay. And I'm not going to just keep saying, you know, I ain't talking about everybody, okay?
I got what you're saying.
Okay, so, but the reality is, you know, just to, you know, it's not something that's really common in the black family to say that, you know, that a man does not respect, you know, the women in his family. Okay. Tiffany, you want to say something? Look like you kind of.
No, I mean, I was just, you know, and I understand what you're saying about, you know, how it is in the black family, but why is there such a divide? You know, if the black man knows who we are as black women, you know, why do we have to constantly take the lead? You know, and
well, do y'all really want to have that conversation? Because
I'm asking the question.
We want to know.
Okay,
I'm asking the question.
I think we're about to shift gears here.
And just like Vicky said, I mean, it's not that we want to, it's that we have to. You know, and us teaching our girls, you know, to be independent, quote unquote, is really more so a reflection of the pain that we've had to go through in our lives, not wanting our girls to be left out there with not knowing what to do because they're dependent on a man.
So let's deal with this because we did shift gears. The David said, "Woo, it's getting good." Hey, I don't have my glasses on, but I believe he's saying that this is a one-sided conversation. I'm not sure, you know. Hey, but here's the deal. So we have to understand that we went through this thing called women's liberation, okay? And now here's the problem with women's liberation. That was on the tail end of the civil rights movement. So we have, with however great the civil rights movement was, okay, you know, here's the benefits of it. Okay, there were some things that we accomplished during the civil rights. I know it can be argued, but you know, hell, we're not enslaved anymore. You know what I'm saying? We got some rights, okay, and we got that through the civil rights. Well, the white woman still felt like she was being, you know, she was being treated unfair. the white man did not elevate her up like the black man elevated up his woman. So the woman wanted some right. That white woman wanted some right. So what she did was she employed the black woman and say, "Listen, we're gonna come off of your that victory you had in civil rights because you were so powerful in that movement. Help us get our get women's rights." And through that act, we joined over, and the black women joined the white women in this women's liberation. Now we fast forward, and now all of a sudden, we have this movement and I'm not going that deep into it, but we had this movement where it was beneficial for the black woman to not have a black man in the household. But what I want you guys to understand that it started with the women's liberation. So when I see, even statements like that, it do kind of strike me because that is that same. Listen, I understand that whole, I understand what you're talking about. That post, I understand that. Okay, but what I also understand is that there can be some things that Satan doesn't need a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? He'll take just a little bit and he'll paint it. And it could be just a little bit of word, that little bit of word option. He can, and when that seed is planted in that little bitty mind of that little bitty girl, that seed is gonna grow. And my fear is that it's not gonna be conducive to a strong family. So that's why I took issue with it. And that's why I only talk about that one issue, because everything else I don't got no problem with. You know what I'm saying? That's what So but that's where I'm at with it. And so. But my question is this, because Vicky gave the definition of the word option. What other word can we use other than the word option, Tiffany? You got a big brain. Tell me.
I got a big brain. You said I got a big head.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you're a very well educated, smart person. But you know what? All of y'all are. But I'm just teasing with her.
You just love messing with me because I be getting on you all the time. I think option is.
You just do what I said.
Choice. I mean, we have the right to choose.
Yeah, I mean, any way you slice it, and and I just believe that, for me, I think at times Black women are the most unprotected ever. I think now we are, we're a hot commodity right now.
Absolutely.
I mean, we are a hot commodity right now. But for so long, going back to slavery, we've always had to rise up when our husbands, and our fathers and our brothers were taken out of the home. We didn't have there was nobody left but the women. And so we had to take on that role. But we, more than any, we want order. We want structure. We want order. We want the man to take his rightful place. I mean, I don't think anybody that's on this panel or that's listening in now or listening, to the replay, we want order. We want, a man, that's gonna come in and be the priest and be the bridge that carries us over. That's gonna be our provider and our protector, and and to love us and to respect us, and that I don't have to worry about this or that because my man got my back. I don't think there's a woman that would not want that. But there is the reality of there are some girls, there are some teenagers, there are some young adults that are not ready to be in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And because they are not ready to be in a relationship, I think as women of wisdom, we need to share with them that there are times in their life when they need to love on themselves and be by themselves.
You
And
know
it
that.
doesn't mean that they can't walk in purpose. I mean, come on, Ruth. Come on, Esther. Come on, Rahab.
You know that
You
that,
know,
that
and
that's
about
so, and
women
these
being
were
ready.
single women that were powerful and purposeful, and God was able to use them in their singleness.
you know
Amen.
that you know
Amen.
that definitely amen. Because I mean, I can't argue with that. But here's the thing.
I'm
Um,
listening.
okay, so here's the thing. When we're still talking about that age, and so when you talk about you know um, that the fact that young daughter or whoever is not ready to be in a relationship, then of course, you know, if they're not ready, and you as their mother or aunt, whoever, you understand that they're not ready to be in that relationship. But here's my thing: does it make sense to tell them, that they don't need a man, rather than to prepare them for where they would before prepare them, just prepare them, because see, when I look at that, I say, okay, well, the man is an option, okay, but then but if you know what God intended us for us to have, wouldn't it be more beneficial to say, let me just prepare you for what's going to come? Because I think most of the, and see, let me just say this. Um, I believe, and y'all can correct me all you want, but I believe that young girl that never been married, she's saying, she's saying, I'm okay with wanting to be married. But I believe that something happens once you go through some hurt, once you go through some trauma, and once you feel like you're not whole because somebody took something from you, then it's easy for you to say, well, a man is an option. But that's because of what you went through. But what about that person that never went through that?
Are we
You,
saying that men are ready as well? I
And we
was
ain't even got onto that yet.
I
but,
haven't I didn't
but
hear I mean because I wasn't here in the beginning, so I just wanted to make sure that we were talking about women going into a position to where that man is ready and prepared too, because men have to be just as prepared as we are.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
it's definitely not one sided
But
when it
let's
comes
be
to
honest
marriage.
now. The man is controlling the relationship. He controls the pace. So what do the woman do? She's preparing herself. She is becoming whole. She's going about doing exactly what she's supposed to be doing, exactly what God called her to do in that moment, that time. You know what I'm saying? But trust me, you know, you listen. There was a time. Let's just understand it. There was a time when if you was not married, it was a hey, words like old maid, or it was a taboo. It was a, people look down on that. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that was right.
Exactly. And
I'm not
that
saying that it was right, but what I'm saying is, there was a time where it was an honor. It was it was a privilege. It was the crowning glory to say, "Man, I'm married." I mean, people celebrated, and now it's like, it's being diluted, and that's
but the reason why, Eric, one of the reasons why is because there is one man to seven women. Okay, and it's probably more than that right now. Our men are locked up, or either locked up or they want other men. And so, and so I rather
see,
tell my sister, tell my friend that just because you're not in a relationship right now, or because you're not married right now, does not mean that you can live a life of fulfillment. I'm not
Mhm.
saying don't want a man, and I'm not saying don't hope to be married one day. But what I
Mhm.
am going to tell that woman is that you can live your best life now, right
Mhm.
now, in the present moment. And whatever
Mhm.
God has for you, it'll come. But for right now, I'm not going to tell my sixth graders that is consumed with being in a relationship and being touched and being handled and being whatever.
No, you
I,
teach them
I'm not.
balance.
I'm not gonna tell them that you know they just have to be married. And no,
No, you teach
I'm
them
telling them
balance.
other things.
You have to
I'm giving them choices. I'm
you
not
have to
just gonna
teach them
tell them this
balance.
one thing, Eric.
Mhm.
I'm gonna tell them that they don't have to live a either or life. They can live a both and life.
See, here's the deal. If you know if you have a child that's like that, then you teach them how you teach them how to be a lady. You teach them how to respect themselves. You teach them the balance. But it should not be just an option of either I'm going to teach them to love themselves, and then on the other side, I'm gonna teach them how a man is an option. You know why? If you got a child, I mean, listen, that child that's there has other problems, and
No,
she
I'm
needs
gonna
to.
tell them that they love themselves first. And
And I have no problem
and
with
you
that.
love yourself first, and when you truly love yourself first, then you're going to make the right decision. But
That's
I'm
what
gonna
balance
always
comes in
tell
there.
them that they have a decision. It's the same way. You know how many women out there can't conceive,
Mhm.
but yet, God said, "Be fruitful and multiply." He said, he created women to be pregnant and to give birth. But there are a lot of women out there that cannot do it,
Mhm.
or they have difficulty doing it. And so I don't want them to think that they're less than, and they do. They
Yeah.
think they're less than because they can't conceive. Heck,
That's
it's
what they
women
just
that
need. They
have to
need
have
balance.
a hysterectomy, and men make them
Mhm.
feel like they're not even a woman anymore after a hysterectomy. I know
It's just
women
balance.
that have lied to their husbands. They've had a full hysterectomy and haven't even told their husband because they're afraid of their husband's response. That's
Yeah.
that's life.
Yeah. I think we also make those roles as like a goal, like it's something to reach for, whether it's being a mother or being a wife. Versus, I mean, I'm real big on purpose and the purpose that God has given us. So I think if we are more concentrated on what our purpose is in life, then those things are going to be added to us, versus us trying to say, hey, I'm going to raise my daughter so she could go get a man, or she can be a wife. I'm
Now,
not going to raise my
how
daughter to
about
just be a wife. I'm going to raise my daughter to pursue God's plan for her life, so her husband could come alongside her while she's on that path of purpose, and prayerfully he will be on that path of purpose, and they can come together and do what
that's
God has
that's
called
one
them
of the
to do.
things that we talked about, Carol. I believe we did, because I think we got into prioritizing, who comes first or whatever,
Yeah.
and I think I made the comment that I don't know any man that will want to play second to, a woman, a woman in that capacity. I believe that you're talking on, Tiff. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So here's the thing. Um,
Not too many.
the guy what I'm hearing is I'm hearing balance. I'm hearing that when they're young enough, you need to teach them balance. You need to, of course, if you got a child that's so boy, crazy. You need to teach them balance. And honestly, so y'all really know, I think, listen, I love the woman, but if that woman, is coming from a place of some type of hurt or some type of void in their life, then that person needs to sit back by themselves and get healed. You
That's
know what I'm
right.
saying?
That's
Because
right.
you know, um, when you start putting out certain information from a place of hurt, you know what I'm saying? In your mind, you're thinking that, man, that's great information, which it is. But God downloaded that for you because it's something that you're going in. But then you'll go to social media and then you'll say, okay, I think everybody needs to hear that. No, that was something that you was going through that God said, you know what, this is for you, and but now we want to make it into something that's big. And listen, um, I'm gonna say it again.
But sometimes it is for somebody, for whoever. It might
But
not be for everybody, but it
but
might be.
exactly,
But
I
I get what
totally
you're
get
saying,
it.
Jared.
I
I
totally get it.
get it.
But what I'm saying is that if you're not healed and if you're not whole, sometimes. And I know people say, "Well, hey, man, I'm gonna work through this. I'm gonna, I'm gonna keep doing this, until I get home." I get that, but you have to be responsible at the same time. Why am
Yeah,
I
but see,
calling
that goes back to your motive.
that goes? But it definitely goes.
Sometimes when women or men are in a hurt place, when they put stuff out there, especially on social media, sometimes they putting stuff out there throwing shade. They're not putting stuff out there so that they can be a light in a place of darkness for somebody else.
Right,
And so
and
whenever your motives are impure, then it's gonna yield something that's impure. And so that's what we don't want to happen. But all we got to go on, Eric, is what we've been through. That's
absolutely.
it. We don't
And,
have, I mean, whether it's happy, I'm putting this out here on social media because I'm happy. I'm putting this out on social media because I'm sad. I'm putting it out on social media because I'm grieving. You know,
But
you know, all we
sometimes,
have is our own experiences.
sometimes a person doesn't put things on social media because it's their own personal thing. Sometimes they see stuff going on with people around them,
Mm-hmm.
and they put stuff out there to basically
Yeah,
let that person see it so that it'll minister to them in some type of way.
yeah.
It's not always about,
You are
oh,
so right. I put something out there one time. I got more inboxes, and I'm like, this is not me.
right. It's not always about the
It's
person who
not
puts,
about me. Girl, what happened? I promise you, this has nothing to do with me. But they automatically thought
because
okay,
that's
that
their,
is
that's their
right.
nature. I mean, that
yeah.
they're doing it. So the guy is.
I'll just say this.
Mhm.
I have had people to come to me in public, older women, older than me, and say that they appreciate some of the stuff I put out because it ministers to them. It spoke to them in some kind of way. I have a couple of female friends who are with men that they're not married to, either living with or dating. They're being disrespected, they're being cheated on, they're being abused. So a lot of times when I put stuff out there, it's to minister to somebody that I personally know,
Right.
without telling them directly, because sometimes if you go to them directly and try to speak to them on something, they won't receive it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna knock that because I mean, like you said, and your motives are good, but
And
I don't think that's not that one that's really, my concern because one, I believe that older person, like I said, they need to do whatever they got to do, because I see that I see them babies coming up, and say my concern is with the babies and what they're here. If
okay,
you don't
okay.
have, go ahead. I'm gonna let you talk.
I understand you keep saying the babies. Okay, so I'll say this about that point. If you have a child, a young girl, and you are raising her with Christian values, that is going to already be instilled in her. She will know those things already.
So tell me how would you how would you relay that message of marriage to that, you know, 'cause am I right to assume that you won't use the man as an option to the baby, or how would you do it?
I mean, you ain't gonna talk to a baby about an option because their vocabulary is already limited anyway. You're gonna talk to them on their level at different stages of their life, like your sister spoke about earlier.
Okay.
You speak to a child according to their age level.
Okay, so tell me how that conversation would go.
I'm sorry.
How would you have that conversation with a 12-year-old?
At 12, they're still not ready for that conversation. At 12, you're still teaching them their fundamental foundation of a Christian lifestyle for a woman.
Okay.
So as they learn that, when they get to the point where they need to hear that, then that's when you talk to them, which is usually going to be around 15 or 16.
Okay.
When their hormones start jumping.
Okay. So
can I say something right quick?
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, Carol, I was with y'all for till now. Carol, you my girl.
It's okay. I mean, that's what we on here for.
But I have had some of the most, like, my eyes like this, but my
Your sixth graders.
And no, my 6 and 7-year-old granddaughters.
Oh gosh.
What?
And I think that we need to have some conversations early, because by the time they get to 15 and 16, they have been taught things that we don't want.
I didn't say wait until they get there. I said you talk to them at each stage on their level. I didn't say
okay.
Right.
Okay. I really think
their level
that at 5 and 6. Now we're back out of eye.
Focus on me.
Yeah. Okay.
That part. I didn't say wait until they get there.
No.
At each stage.
Okay, good.
At each stage.
So
because back in the day, Eric, when we were growing up, we were a little bit more sheltered. We didn't have access to the internet until YouTube and all these other different platforms that are teaching our children things that we don't want them to know about so early. And so we got to get in front of social media. We got to get in front of the internet and share some things with them in a wholesome and holy way. Because if we don't, these streets are going to be teaching our girls things and our boys things that we don't want to be taught. But it does need to be a conversation, I would say, as early as 5 years old. But that conversation may not be with words. That conversation is how you show up and live your life daily in front of your young girls.
So the question that I had,
tell you that I had men over them. They can't tell you that I was bitch this and hold this and letting people talk to me any kind of way. They can't. They're not gonna tell you that. They didn't hear their mama cursing because I didn't do that. I lived a holy life before them. So to the point, I'll never forget when they were gone off and grown and I was in the house by myself. I said, Lord, now this the test. Was I really living for you? Because I could get buck wild right now and nobody would know it.
Absolutely.
You teach them by precept and example. It may not always be a conversation. And so I told Jessica today, in so many words, I ain't raised no fool. I done told you this, that, and the other. Now I ain't raised no fool. And she wants to be married. She wants to have children. The age she is now, she's a hot commodity. When men approach her, they're like, you this age, you beautiful, you're educated, and you don't have children? It's almost like they look at her like,
like a unicorn.
A unicorn.
Yeah, she's my unicorn.
Yeah.
You know,
My baby.
but I would dare not tell her don't. And she desires to be married. She desires to have children. I wouldn't tell her at the age she is now, even though society may say that her clock is ticking. I'm gonna say, wait, hold out. What she told me, Mama, I done seen how these men are out there. I'm gonna wait on who God has me for. I'm not gonna be in a rush to get in it, get in it old body. See, she saw her mom make a mistake because I thought at a certain age. But she also saw me do it right. And she'll tell anybody, if they don't come like Stan May came with my mama, they ain't good enough. So I was able to get to show her what a real man, a real husband, what it looks like. Mm-hmm. Not just through words, but what I accepted. Cause see, I could have accepted some trash before staying. I could have lived any old kind of way. So it's not all the time the conversation. It's how are us older women, us seasoned women that have experienced some things, how are we showing up in the lives of these children, whether directly or indirectly.
So should that female, should she be preparing for her husband?
I think she needs to be preparing for whatever it is she's believing God for. Okay, see, when I was preparing for Stan May, I was getting up every morning fixing lunch like I already had my husband. So it depends on what are you believing God for. If you believe in God to be married, then I think that you need to do that. One of my closest friends, she comes on Facebook every single day and she speaks to her husband. She says, "Dear husband, I can't wait to, this with you. I can't wait to that with you." And you know what the world says? They say she thirsty.
Yeah.
And I had to tell her, baby, you ain't thirsting nothing but God. Don't let these folks keep you from speaking what you're believing God for.
See, that's really where my point is at.
Speaking life into her situation.
Exactly.
Right. And
so that life and death is in the power of our tongue. So
right.
What she wants.
And that's exactly where I'm at with the topic, is because I see death when I hear that a man is an option. I hear death. I hear death of the family. I hear death of marriage when I hear that.
That's not. You're perceiving it wrong. I don't know. Well, like your sister just said, your niece has made an option to wait because she said, she saw an exemplary woman and she saw an exemplary man. So instead of any old hanging out with any old guy,
and I would use the word wait because she said she's waiting because she said I'm not going to accept anything and anybody. That's number one. And she said, I'm working on me. She just told me last night, Mama, I'm building back my relationship with God. I'm working on me. I'm working on my finances right now. See, there's nothing wrong with a woman wanting to be financially stable before she gets married.
No, all of that I'm going to agree with.
So she is waiting because she could be with somebody right now, and she said, "I choose me in this season in my life."
Right. Well, the reality is she hadn't found that standard of man, and once that standard of man is found, she will get married. Okay.
I agree with that because I don't think that man is going to come into her life prematurely. I don't think God would allow that to happen. I think she'll be ready because she's ready.
All of that is good, but the reality to it is, that we all got a right to make the mistake. Because we all know that, like you said in the beginning, it's going to be a permissive will and perfect will. I really believe in all my heart that you can have a very good productive relationship with anybody, if y'all if y'all on the same page and agreement with each other.
Look, I would say sometimes me and Stan were in agreement with some of the wrongest stuff, but because we were in agreement, God blessed it.
God blessed it. You know, I mean,
And we was like, boy, we both made a mistake with that one right there.
yeah,
But
but God honors that.
he honored the agreement,
You know,
the harmony.
and it's definitely the harmony in it. So we, I'm a realist guy. And I believe that you pray and you do all of that, but I also believe that I don't care who God brings into your life. Hey, God can just blow him up from the dust of the earth and put him there for you. But if you ain't ready mentally,
You ain't gonna
it's
know what to
not
do
gonna
with
work.
them.
You're not gonna know what to do with them. You're gonna ruin them. You know what
And I
I'm
tell
saying?
you, Eric, if I had have met Stan when I really, really wanted a husband, I wouldn't have known what to do with him. I really wouldn't. I really believe that it was in God's perfect timing. He would not have known what to do with me. Nothing. He it. Mm-mm.
You know, you know.
Mm-mm.
I mean, everybody don't know the Stan May story, which um, but the
I
reality
did
is,
it one day.
the reality, Stan, Stan had a standard for himself, and
Yeah.
Stan knew how to love you, to a point where it made it easier. I mean, and I would say that, and you probably need to be real mad at me or agree with me, that he loved you in spite of you. You
Oh,
know,
definitely.
yeah.
That's
I
why I'm
mean,
like, Lord, please, if it's meant for me to be married again, I need them to be able to deal with my ugly like Stan did.
hey, we was
Oh
in
my
situations
gosh.
like I don't know how he letting that slide. Hey, as her
Love
blood
you.
brother, I'm like, hey man, you need to
He
go
loved
holler at her.
made him for her and her for him. He
That's
loved
Man,
it. That's
both.
it. That's it.
He
you
was
know,
the
you
right
know,
It had been
her. And
anybody else.
right. But what my point was is that Stan May just came to that understanding. Stan had came to a place. It really had nothing to do with Vicky. You know what I'm saying? He came to that place.
Yeah.
So um, and when we look at the whole reason why we're here, um, just so y'all just don't think I'm just totally crazy, because Tiffany already think I
don't
am.
think you're crazy, Eric.
Yeah, you know
And we don't
everything.
totally disagree with you either.
Well, hell,
What you're saying, you're making valid points.
well, I'm gonna watch the replay and I'm gonna take notes and see if that's true or not. Hey, but I love this, and everything that I'm saying, because I promise you, I get it. I know what my assignment is. I know what God, my purpose here, and God have He put me here to champion, His kingdom,
That's right.
his marriage, his relation. So anything that I'm gonna be real sensitive when it comes to anything that even with the hint of that can damage the kingdom. I believe and we go all the way back to Genesis. I believe Genesis 2, and where he said, man wasn't meant to be alone. And I always said that, as good as Adam was, as perfect as that creation was, we could say the apple of God's eye. You know,
Mhm.
as perfect as Adam was, God said, you know what, you're not complete.
Yeah.
You're not really gonna be able to fulfill your assignment unless I give you some help. See,
Yeah.
that's how important I think the woman is.
Yeah.
She wasn't an afterthought. She wasn't a okay, let me just see what else I can do with the rest of this. No, it was like, man is good. I perfected man, but you're not gonna be able to do what you need to do unless you have this woman. And anything that attacks that, I get a little sensitive to it because I don't want anything because I know what God's plan is, and what I do believe is that we come up with hybrid versions, and I'm not knocking anybody's philosophy or theology. What's the word, Vicky? I'm gonna say philosophy.
Theology,
Theology.
or philosophy.
Yeah, I couldn't get that out of my tongue. So, and we have a heavy tongue sometimes.
Right.
I normally do better than that because I can feel it, and then I'll be like, nope, don't say that word. But that's it.
Porky Pig, like Porky Pig does. Just give
Right.
Right.
But but when I know what God's intent was. And I know that where we enter in sin, we can just call it sin. We can just and then but we also can call it hurt. We can call it toxic. We can call it whatever we call it, whatever that we go through in life that kind of developed the way we are now. I know what God's original intent was. And I know that there's some things that he just established here on earth, and he called it his kingdom, and it was some things that that he knew that in order for it to come to pass, it was going to be through that family unit. I also know that when you look at the church is made up of family. I know that Satan has an agenda, and he said that he understood where the gates of hell was not going to prevail against the church. But he also had a plan to say, but if I can destroy the family, then by default, it's going to weaken the church. See, I understand all of that.
I agree with that. I
understand it. And so what I would want all of us to take away from this thing is that regardless of where we lie on, whether should we use option or whatever, what I'm saying, regardless of way, obviously it's me against y'all, but regardless of way, regardless of that, let's say that as believers, that we need to do whatever we can to hold up that standard, and say, what, because I know that, man, I gotta be 100% man, and I know that she has to be 100% woman in order for us to come together and to and to be whole. I understand that, and we can't have anything to come in and say, what, and start picking away, with that unit. We
never said that a woman doesn't need a man. That wasn't the statement. That was not meant to be the understanding.
Right. I appreciate that because you.
What the statement was about, saying
So
that a woman.
You say it.
Because we definitely need them.
Thank you.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
I need somebody to come do my yard right now.
And I was about to say,
Now,
I got a garbage can.
Now, wait a minute now.
I got a garbage can. I don't feel like bringing up.
So that's why y'all need a man.
I need somebody to put some gas in my car.
Wash my car.
Wash
my
it.
Lord.
We need a man now.
You know what? I would never do another broadcast and be outnumbered like this again. Now y'all just can go.
We need them for more than that. We need you for your moral support, for your leadership, all of that supportive stuff. We need all of that. It's not just, those things. We need the whole man, the whole full circle man.
Really. And, and just for companionship.
Yes.
And for conversation. I love talking to my women friends, but, every now and then I want to be in a conversation with a man. Because they just bring things to the table that a woman don't, different type of perspectives that a woman just not gonna, And so, yeah, we need a man. I'm not gonna
And,
say that we don't.
and let's look at it
We
this way
just
too.
we just want, we just want um
A God,
healthy, whole women
That's right. Because
out into the world, because we just, we play a very important and vital role in the world. And when going back, I even thinking of that Proverbs 31 woman, she did a lot,
mhm.
and that house would not have been so blessed if she had not have been the type of woman that she is, and she was whole.
She was whole. See, and I think that's the message. The message should be, hey, let's see what we can do to get our sisters whole. Because which Vicky, you may know, but I have a the opposite side where my brother, the brother group, where we deal with the opposite issues, and well, or the issue of, okay, brother, how can I get you whole? What is it about? What are you going through? Because one of the things that we deal with as men, we describe it, as being in an aquarium by yourself, but you don't know that you're by yourself. You know what I'm saying? You got all these people around you, and you're suffering. You're screaming to the top of your lung because you want somebody to hear you, but nobody's there to hear you. And so so we end up in this place where we suffer in silence. We suffer alone because our words are not being validated. So um so when I look at this type conversation, I know what those men I know what they say when they're in situations where I'm not being heard, and I'm not being heard in my relationship. um, I know what they say when they get into a safe place. I know that men cry, and I know that they want to be in that place of leadership,
Yeah.
and they feel like that they literally have the whole system, the whole government, that's keeping them from being in that place. I hear those conversations.
Yeah.
I hear the guys who cry in the divorce group for men, and they're saying stuff like, okay, well, I seen my wife out with another man. I want to kill myself. I have to deal with those conversations. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And all of this when society say, the strong black man, that have to carry the weight on his shoulders. I mean, we come across as being Superman, and the truth of the matter is, we know that we're just Clark Kent. We just the average guy. I know I want you to see me as Superman, but I also want you to know that I if I get shot, I'm gonna bleed. It's gonna hurt. You know what I'm saying? And that's an issue that we have to deal with. So when I look at this family, I say, well, man, let's you know, we're gonna see things different. God made it that way. I
Hmm.
am totally convinced that He made me think the way. Listen, this is not a disagreement because God want me to think different than you. You know what I'm saying? I wanted the people to hear your side of it because, guess what? You're thinking exactly the way you're supposed to think. I'm thinking exactly the way I'm supposed to think. And we're going to be in error when we start pointing the finger at each other and say, you're wrong and I'm right. No, it's a reason why God made us this way. And we're going to have to learn how to embrace that because the family needs it. We need,
That's
we,
it.
we need it.
That's
We need
it.
the yin and the
That's
yang.
it.
Our kids need it. Our kids, because it's all balance. It's all, yes, if daddy's gonna be the disciplinarian and mom's gonna be the nurturer, man, there's nothing wrong with that. Because the child needs both.
Yeah.
if everybody discipline was the disciplinary, where would they run to?
Right.
They need somebody to run to. But if everybody was nurturing, then who's gonna give them the guidance and to make them stronger and be productive if nobody gave them discipline?
Mm.
God said, "I'm chasing you because I love you."
And that's what our society is suffering from right now.
Absolutely.
A lot of kids are not getting the discipline that they need.
Mhm. That's it. And discipline, I mean, it's just teaching. But Eric, I love the conversation. We've been on here almost 2 hours, so I'm about to zone out.
You got to
Yeah.
call out.
But the conversation is great. I think that it was definitely needed. I think that what you're doing with the Power Two, with the Power Two podcast, I think that it's going to be explosive because it's just time for men and women to have real conversations and have a place, a platform that they can go to and hear real talk from real people that aren't afraid to share their truth. And their truth might not be anybody else's truth, but it's their truth. And so to have this platform where you can share and be vulnerable and not, be ridiculed or whatever, I just love it. I love it. And so I appreciate being able to share and hear you guys share and your opinion. It was a great. So
Hey, shout out to David, man. He said, "Hey, Kirk family. Hey, man, we definitely love you and appreciate what you do, brother." And
Hey, David.
hey, we'd love to have you on, man, too, because I know you got a lot to say. I know you got a lot to say. Hey, so Vicky, we appreciate that closing remark. Tiffany, I'm gonna go to you next. Hey, how do you want to close out this? It would be great if you just closed it out in total agreement of me. So if you want to do it that way, yeah, I wouldn't oppose it. So.
Well, I guess I could say something nice, but I definitely appreciate this platform.
Hey, hold on 1 second. Can y'all see the comments?
I can't.
Yes.
Y'all can't see them?
I can.
You can. Okay. My mother just joined. Man, let me sit up straight because Queen Mother have just entered in. I don't even know what to say right now. Love you, Mom. Vicky's being mean to me. Yes, we're gonna deal with that Sunday though.
Right.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I had to do that.
No problem. But I definitely appreciate this platform and just like I said, I mean, just the family alone is something that I'm passionate about. And I know, Eric, you mentioned about co-parenting earlier. We didn't get to really say anything about it, but just the simple fact of being able to raise your children in two loving family environments where you can still be in agreement, even though you're separate. And that's something and even when we can't have, the kids under the same home and do things the way God has designed it to be, at least we can raise our children up in one accord. So anybody's on, need co-parenting, coaching or whatever, just let me know. But I definitely appreciate your platform and it was a blessing getting to know everybody too.
Yeah, and I will say this, and I'm not just saying it, but when it comes, listen, sometimes things happen and you end up divorced, okay? But when you have enough to say, you know what, for the sake of the kids, let's perfect this co-parenting thing, man, I'm telling you, when I heard her story, I'm like, you know what, I know that you are a very unique and special person because I ain't gonna tell her story, but it's a lot that she could have been toxic. She could have been she could have had a pain to say, a hurt, to where she was like, no, I'm gonna hurt you just like you hurt me, and but she released all of that and said, you know what, for the sake of the kids, let's do the best co-parenting that's ever been done. And it was a blessing to hear her story. So Miss Carol, you started all of this. You started all of it. So
Wonderful thing. That means that thing stirred up.
that's right.
That's it. Be a disruptor, baby.
I thank you for inviting me on. Like Tricia said, this is a great platform for Black men and Black women to actually hear each other and not talk at each other. We are able to talk and express ourselves and actually listen and hear, because you can hear somebody and not listen.
Right.
Listen and truly hear what's being said from one another. It's a wonderful thing. So Eric, I commend you on that. I thank you for inviting me on, and I have had a wonderful time on the podcast.
Man, that is so awesome. I appreciate you. Listen, I don't know about y'all class, but class 87.
The best, baby.
The best. I'm like, I feel sorry for everybody else, man, because we just been riding for each other.
We love each other like family. Yeah. Our class members, we truly love one another like brothers and sisters. We really do, and support one another.
I mean, I'm like, and support, like really, support. You know what I'm saying? I don't think if somebody's saying they doing something, somebody's representing. You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
Right. Yeah, because you had Chester on before too.
Say that. Oh, Chester. Yes.
Chester on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Chester. Man, that's my brother from another mother. So,
right.
Hey guys, we at the end of this thing, and man, we did a great job, and I know that everybody that has listened and to the live, and that's going to listen to the repost, the replay, are going to be blessed. Listen, go to, if y'all want to do me a favor. First of all, I'm looking at this panel, and I believe I could be wrong, but I believe everybody purchased my book except for one person.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna call any names, but if you know who you are,
Is it on Audible?
It's coming soon. It's coming soon. So, but everybody, listen. If you want to bless me, I want to bless you too. Okay, so my blessing is 8 revelations that God given me in the course of almost 10 years, and I put those revelations in the form of a book, okay, and you can go purchase that book. So if and Dedrick, if you stay here, you said this, and I'm going to use it, so officially it's mine. But if you in a relationship, if you plan on being in a relationship, or if you're struggling in a relationship, you definitely want to read this book, and you want to study those 8 revelations.
What's the website, Eric?
The website is thepowerof2x.com. Okay, and I'll put it in the chat too. So that's the power of 2, the letter x.com. So everybody, that is the end of our broadcast. Thanks for all the people. Thanks for the panel. Thanks for the comments. We love you guys, and we are officially out.
Bye, guys.